one thing is probably, all over the ASHA workers have been in contact with the villagers, with the thing. And they've all been concentrating on obstetrics part of it. If we can teach them about gynecology also, that would be a major role which the government can do.
We need to educating our public and educating our health workers regarding this. So, and finally, considering the regional variations in healthcare practices, what strategies can be employed to ensure uniform adherence to such guidelines? I mean, we said one state has a higher incidence of hysterectomies, another state doesn't. So, can we do something about it as healthcare professionals?
As healthcare professionals, we can only conduct symposium, conduct educational classes for all these states, the particular states which are the same. But most of the time, these particular states have a lower level of education. So if the primary education is better for girls, for women, that would be the major thing which the government can involve.
Thank you, Dr. Chitra. Dr. Ragini, what strategies can prove effective in overcoming challenges relating to this implementation? And what is your take on public awareness campaigns and the digital media in promoting awareness about menstrual health and heavy menstrual bleeding and the need for not doing hysterectomies?
So thank you, Dr. Guleria. There are four things. Number one, whatever I heard in the previous panel, here we are sitting to give a solution to a problem which is causing a major ill effect to the health of the woman. Woman is a very important part of the family. But is it true? What is the position of a woman in the society? I am not talking of the women who are sitting here. I am talking of the women who are sitting in the villages, in a families where semi-education is there. There are big family who takes the decision on behalf of that woman. So I think the end users has to be empowered with the knowledge. End users has to be given that responsibility that they can take decision for themselves. Saying that doctor does that, this blame game is not going to solve this problem. As that gentleman has said very clearly, there is only two things. Number one, society has to take a step towards to solve this problem. One hand cannot do anything until unless we can take a participation from the public. It's just like imposing something. And second thing, what Dr. Chitra has said, that is very important. We have to think that India is a heterogeneous country, very big country, economically, education-wise, religion-wise, and then overall culturally, it is a heterogeneous country. We cannot put a bland thing everywhere. We have to see the ground realities. I am a person who will do hysterectomy as a last choice. But what type of people we are catering? My patient is ready to come back to me, want to follow. Think of a woman from a village with much and much difficulty. When she leads to a hospital, she is already anemic and she cannot come every time, she cannot go follow up. So we have to address grassroots and give them those facility to the grassroots women, and only then we can say the unnecessary hysterectomy. The whole hurrah has started from those women whose hysterectomy was done in the state. They are the sugarcane workers. Have ever you thought why I have gone? Because their wage is linked. The husband and wife wages are linked. If woman is not working, husband is not getting the wages. Why? This is such a, if you think of it, it is a gross injustice. So number one thing, Dr. Raka, if you ask me, the education of a woman, empowerment of the woman with education, financial independence, social independence will play the biggest role. Number two, the government. Don't blame the private person at all. I'm totally against it. Government is there to see the affordable health for the person. Why those women should not get those help at the village side? And they should be taught that you have to go for a regular checkup. Because it is not only at that time preventing a hysterectomy, maybe she is developing a cancer also. If she will not go for a regular checkup, she does not go for a regular pap smear, she will not go for a regular ultrasound, and followed by a doctor very closely till the age of 50, 55 when she attain a menstruation. And meantime, if she will develop something, this is again on the head of the doctor. So, when we talk about the hysterectomy, it is just not a removal of the uterus. Believe me, 90% of the gynecologists, I am saying this word gynecologists, most of us are women who don't want to remove any uterus. You want to give the conservative treatment, but think the cost of the conservative treatment. I'll just say one line. Again, on record, I'm saying I'm a person who's totally anti-hysterectomy because I respect a woman. Being a woman, uterus is as an important organ as your any other organ. We cannot, it's not a vessel to produce a baby. But a real example I'm giving you. A lady of 36 years who has a 20-year child and a 16-year of a child is bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. She comes in my OPD and said, "Doctor, remove my uterus. I don't want, I have a two baby." In our country, they are specifically in the village side, they are not going to divorce the husband and going to have another husband. So the husband will also say, "We don't want, remove it. She is not able to do the day-to-day work." And I'm running around with her everywhere. Now I said, "No, I will not do this. I will putting you on a tablet or now we have a very wonderful system that is Myrina. We put with that. And not it is costing something very great, but this education of Myrina or Leuven or gestational ICT is there in the population. No, they are so scared of the property, they are not going to put it. If I put them on the tablets, those tablets are so costly. A tablet will come around 20 to 25 rupees per tablet. Think if she is going to take it 5 years, how much money? From where it will come? So there are so many things before we are thinking the unnecessary hysterectomy. As that gentleman has really pointed out, we have to think of how to provide the medical management, which is the need of our, and educate the woman and put it as the medical curriculum that woman, that the girl, the doctor which is coming out of the education, she knows that she has to do a medical management. And third point, this is very important. Today, not only gynecologists, everyone, even now the non-MBBS doctors are also doing the hysterectomy. So who is at fault?
Yes, ma'am. Now, coming forward on this, I would also, since we are now in the phase of digital media and everything, and we can really enhance the knowledge of people through our digital awareness campaigns and things. So what is your take on this? Should we really propagate this through our digital media, since everybody has a mobile phone and everybody has the net?
Dr. Aka, you have touched my real nerve. I'm a person who is too much for the digital media public education. I'm heading the this social education program of the Haryana Army also. And I'm sorry to say, when I put my whole heart in this education, this digital education, hardly there's a person who's going to listen it. I go to many women institution, I tell my patient, you arrange your kitty and give me time for 5 minutes just to educate you on any point. But not a more of the people are interested. You can do this public education in India, arranging a group of the women in the villages where there's an Asha Bai or somebody was there and there's a screen, and maybe sitting in Delhi you are speaking. That can be done. But if you're thinking, you just say that people are open on their mobiles, I'm sorry to say I have done 35 public forums, but hardly I have got anyone to listen it.
Okay, so that is again one thing which we should also push the government for, to use their digital media to propagate our views. Dr. Rakhi, coming forward from this, now what role do patient advocacy groups and community engagement play in creating awareness about the potential risks of premature hysterectomies? And how can we amplify these efforts? Okay, what role do patient advocacy groups and community engagement play in creating a public awareness about the potential risks of premature hysterectomies? And how can we sort of enhance these medical campaigns or tailor them to reach a broader audience?
Thank you, Dr. Aga. Basically, the public advocacy is the mainstay for this whole thing. I would like to start by telling it is that nobody wants a surgery to be done. Anybody sitting in the hall or anybody sitting over there, who would want a surgery to be done? Nobody. It is nobody's business that we go directly and tell that we want a surgery. It is why? Because it is being asked by the public. The doctor will not go to the patient that you come, I'll do a hysterectomy. No. The demand is created, that's why the supply is there. Right? And the second point is education of the public has to be done, which is very important. That will come where the public is going to recognize it from. Every village has somebody to look after or look up on. That is the Gram Panchayat or the heading person, or on the mass media platform it is like, I would like to give the example of the oral polio. It was done because of the advocacy. And this is how we do it. And if it starts coming before if you start putting it on the TV, if you start putting it everywhere around on the radios, that will work. The awareness why it has not to be removed has to be taught to them. And either you do, the second part is, either we start educating all of them post-delivery that LNG IUD can be placed immediately postpartum, right? That has to be educated to them during the delivery, during the pregnancy part itself, antenatally, and so that the bleeding is less, then all the other problems would definitely sort out. But coming down to the cost, that cost factor also can be taken care of. It's just the awareness what has to be taught to them. That, see, the cost would be very less when compared to vis-a-vis how much you're going to spend for the surgery and how much you're going to spend later on suffering for the anemia. So the anemia is also taken care of, the surgery is taken care of. That has to come right during the pregnancy counseling itself. So when the bleeding is not heavy, the patient is happy enough, definitely the surgery point doesn't come forward. And the third thing is digital media definitely plays a major role. That is, if the stars or if the influential persons come forward and starts propagating that every nook and corner, it is placed that yes, preserve the uterus is important, and why it is important. Why is the main thing which has to be educated. Well, it's not the organ which just gives babies. There are more functions to it. The hormones are produced. The hormones are very important. If those hormones are withdrawn from the body, if you are removing the uterus at an early stage, let's say about 35 years, when the menopause is going to occur at around 50 years or 45 years, at the max also. So if you are removing all the hormones, what it is going to happen, how it is going to affect the female, it is definitely going to cause cardiac failures, cardiovascular problems, it is going to cause a bone health issues, osteoporosis would come in, and there would be fractures which would be, if the female is going to have fractures way back I say about at 70 years of age, 65, 70 years of age, that fractures would go down to the age of 45, 40 years of age or 50 years if the uterus is removed, say about 25, 30 years of age, 35 years. So that the patient starts looking older. The patient will have the sexual life also being compromised. There would be decreased lubrications. There would be other more problems like hot flushes coming down. There would be urinary problems which would be starting down because the bladder is very close. And there would be the bowel and the bladder, both would be hampered. Every problem is starting over there. Sleep would be hampered. There would be depression. So if you are highlighting all these important points, that would definitely create an awareness. And another one more thing, it is not the female who is taking the decisions in India. It is a male-dominated society and the males are taking the decision. And the education has to come from the head of the family, or the males also are equally partnered in it, and they have to be educated that these are the problems which would be coming down. So we have to take care of our females in the family, get them to the health checkups, which is very important, and not sit on it that it's just she's bleeding normally, and that is normal that to have a heavy menstrual bleeding, and they don't come down for the follow-up checkups because the males are busy working and then the females are in the house. They have to take a leave to get the wife checked up. That is also another issue. That's why the females are lacking, and they come and tell it's roj ki nautanki. Please get the uterus out. It is not the demand which is created by the females. It's a demand from the family. It's a demand by the person who's taking care of that female. That has to be checked, and awareness has to be coming in all the social media platforms, like in the marriages or any other gatherings. There should be a mandate that a small video has to be played. It's okay. 100 बंदे होंगे, 100 के 100 नहीं देखेंगे, पर 10 तो देखेंगे, 15 देखेंगे. Awareness will start right from the beginning. 10 बार हैम्पर करोगे तो एक बार तो याद होगा ही.
Thank you, Dr. Rakhi. I think you've covered a very broad aspect of how we can educate our males to let the women take the decision in their lives. I would just like to add, maybe this education awareness should start from schools as well. When we have health education programs in school, we should have more education and information regarding menstruation and what classifies as heavy bleeding and what is normal bleeding.
That has been there in place in most of the schools, and that has been, I was part to that adolescent health and family welfare education programs which have been by the government of ministry which was there. I was part of that education programs which were done all over India, and it was told in that adolescent clinics which have been established. Not definitely the private schools are doing that menstrual hygiene program, and then this is a part of the government programs. The adolescent clinics which have been put up in place, and there they have been teaching all the schools and the nearby places also how the menstrual program has to run, and how much is okay and how much is more to it, and where to put a stop and where to go to the doctor and take a help for it.
Thank you. And one final question from you. How can correct data and numbers be ensured when we're doing an audit of surgical interventions like hysterectomy? So how do we maintain our data and how do we do an audit?
The data and the audit, definitely it is there in place by the government.